And so for most men listening, I know for myself, for me, it was my anger and it was my lust.
Mm-hmm.
I was a very explosively angry, abusive guy
Mm.
and a very, very lustful guy. And to that point about lust, going through that period about through the red pill. And again, I want to make it abundantly clear that I don't have it all figured out. And this is a perfect example of this. Is this was about 2 months ago, a month and a half ago. Anyways, well, I quit pornography long, long, long time ago. That's not even something worth even mentioning. But anybody listening, if that's your first step right there.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing for me as a married man was I'm going to save all of my energy, my sexual energy, for my wife.
Mm-hmm.
There's no putting my seed down the drain or in a sock. I'm not doing that anymore. I don't care how hard that is. If I can't, if I, I'm no better than a bonobo monkey if I can't just stop touching myself, dude. Like, come on. Even jokes aside there, like that's enemy number one. That's your first frontier as a man for lust. It's like, hey, can you stop doing this for 30 days? Or can you just direct it towards your wife if you're married?
Yeah,
But
especially
the
that.
third, right? Like, come on, man. I mean, that alone transformed our intimacy. And no question, man. Like, that's how God wanted it.
Mm-hmm.
And the third and fourth thing that I think many men don't want to realize, well, first of all, if you're single, stop having sex before marriage. But let's just speak to the
Period.
married man here, real quick. Period.
Yeah.
There's no exceptions to that rule. You just love your sin. But third and fourth point is your eyes and your thoughts. For me, it was my thoughts and then my eyes. That was the process. And so I remember sitting my wife down and saying, Karen, I've done these things. There's no self pleasure. It's all for you. But my eyes still wander,
Mm.
and I know I have a choice in this. But it's hard. And I mean, man, I was sweating during this
I
conversation,
bet.
and you could see her taken aback by it. But I said, I know you're going to have this reaction. It's not because I'm any less attracted to you. You're the most beautiful woman on this planet. You always will be for the rest of our days and after. But I'm telling you this as just to tell you that I'm going through this process of putting this old self to death. He's not all the way. He's mostly dead, but there's that 20% that most men still cling on to. It's that those eyes and those thoughts. And so for me, the thoughts were easy to control.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a pretty disciplined guy. Shake my head out, stop feeding those thoughts because what you feed grows.
Mm-hmm.
Where you water, that grass is going to grow,
Yeah.
period,
Yeah.
right? But the next thing was the eyes. And, when you go to the gym and everything is so pornographic, right?
It
And I
really
think
is.
it's absolutely insane, man. I mean, you go look at what most guys are following on Instagram. It's like, why are you even putting yourself in that position, dude? It's like you're that dude that you're like, okay, I'm married, I have kids, but I'm going to the club and I'm getting drunk around a bunch of, attractive women. Like, why would you do
I'll
that?
be fine. It's fine. I can
It's
quit
totally
whenever
fine.
I
Yeah, I
want,
can be.
bro.
Yeah, exactly. It's like you're lying to yourself, bro.
Yeah.
You're full of shit,
Yeah.
straight up. And so that was a very uncomfortable conversation to have. So that those thoughts were put to death. But it's so funny how sin is like this autopilot thing where you don't even realize it, man. I find myself, bro, and listen, I still make mistakes. Hopefully not, willingly all the time. Definitely not willingly all the time. I'm not choosing to look. Your eyes just go where they go. I'm like looking at the ground. I want this beast to be put to death so badly. I'm just like staring at the ground.
Yeah.
And some people, some women in the gym think I'm just being standoffish. I'm like, my whole thing is I'm a sociable guy. I go up
Blinders.
to everybody and say, yeah, blinders. And they're like, man, but the thing is, it's so funny. It's nothing against these women. I'm not going to go out of my way to validate you anymore.
Mm.
And it's funny when you stop doing that, they present themselves in your periphery, not just in your periphery, your direct line of vision, where there's like 17 squat racks to use, but you're choosing the one right in front of me. You're using the station right in front of me. It's like, I don't even think you realize you're doing that.
Probably
And
right.
even me as a guy, right? It's like, you don't even think you're realizing you're doing that. You just don't like what you don't like being deprived of what you're used to getting from me too.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing with me at the gym. I got to watch myself. Like, I don't want to cause other women to lust either. And that's not to say I'm this handsome dude or whatever. And that's
Well,
not the point,
well,
right?
well,
Thank you.
yeah.
But that sounds super, super self-aggrandizing.
It's
That's not
not.
what
I
I
know what
mean.
you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
You know what I'm saying? I don't want to, so I have to watch that because before I would find, I'd wear a tank top, but I wouldn't wear a tank top because I was hot. I'd wear a tank top because I wanted attention. There's different in the intentionality there.
Yes. That the same action
So,
done for
so
two different intentions causes a different result.
absolutely. So when I'm hot in the gym, I take it out and I'm fine with that because I know, well, first of all, I'm not wearing a stringer that like I'm basically naked. It's just a tank top and that's what I'm doing,
Yeah.
right? But the intention a lot of the times before was how many girls were looking at me?
Mm-hmm.
That little part of me, that Satan was still like, hey man, you still got it in you. Still see how, people can react to you. And I don't think guys want to really acknowledge those 2 points, the thoughts, the eyes, and the actions.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's this like really weird sentiment out there, sow your wild oats in your 20s. And hey, you can look at what's on the menu, just don't order it. It's like, bro, that is just disgusting,
Oh yeah.
juvenile, grown up child behavior, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's nothing more gross than seeing a dude with a wedding ring on simping after another female. Get your head straight, man. Give it a
Oh
shake, bro.
yeah. It's the worst.
And you see them doing it consistently. It's like you could be, and I don't know what these guys, what they're going, what's going on in their household, but you could be directing energy towards your wife, and I guarantee you, man, you wouldn't need to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
You would get, yeah, right.
go ahead. No, no.
And I just said, the only female validation that matters, if you have daughters, obviously theirs matter, but it's your wife, man.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just this person that nags you. And that's one of my first posts that kind of went nuts, was the myth of the nagging wife. A lot of guys didn't really like that, because it's pointing the finger right at dudes. And this is the thing, man. Me and Ryan were talking about this, and all these dudes are going nuts in his comment section about, maybe the problem is us as men. I fully believe that, dude.
Yeah.
I think, of course women are to blame for some stuff, like that's just using your head. But if we really want change, we got to shoulder not only the burdens that we're designed and commanded to shoulder by God. Those are our God ordained duties, but it's also shouldering the burdens that we don't want to have to carry, but we have to anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you're just blame shifting, this problem just exists in perpetuity. And this is where the red pill comes in, right? You either got the passive dad who just doesn't care, or you got the dude that's just opted out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like enough of just absolving yourself of this responsibility. Take responsibility in all ways.
Yeah.
Right? This is a thing that we never even had to talk about back in like the 20s, 30s, and 40s. Men were too busy fighting wars and doing man shit. Where now it's like, you get your vape taken away from you, or, you can't play video games, or Wi-Fi stops working and you freak out. It's just sad, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Men they don't like to have the things that they use to soothe themselves taken away. And that can be, alcohol, that can be video games, that can be porn, that can be casual sex. And that can also very easily be excuses, right? We were before we started recording, we were chatting, and I was talking about how I did 100-hour fast between Christmas and New Year's this year, which is like just over 4 days.